Welcome back. We have been exploring Otto City here on Manon, and lately we've been caught up in the investigation of a murder of a Sith woman named Alasa, for whom Joey's friend Sunry has been arrested. We've taken it upon ourselves to be the arbiter for his trial, defending him, and as such we've been investigating, hoping to find evidence that will exonerate him. So far we've just gotten finished looking at the hotel at which the murder took place, and a mysterious man outside the hotel has just told us that we might want to take a look at the Republican Sith embassies to find more information, because there may be more here than meets the eye. Well, we're already here by the Republic Embassy, and we're going to go here anyway to ask about the star map, so why not? Let's go ahead and check it out. And if we find anything here, we'll definitely take it into consideration. Looks like this guy is a guy in charge. Let's talk to him.
Welcome to Manon. I'm Roland Wan. As the official representative of the Republic Embassy on this planet, I'm here to help all citizens of the Republic should they require aid.
Well, good. We need some aid right now. We can ask him about the Sunry case right off the bat, but I'm going to talk to him about some other things first.
Kolto is a precious resource. Its healing powers are near miraculous. During times of war, Kolto becomes even more valuable. As long as we have the permits, we will continue to harvest Kolto and ship it to our Republic soldiers battling against the Sith. Of course, the Sith enjoy the very same privileges. If there was some way we could gain an edge over the Sith in our Kolto supply, but the Selkath are fiercely protective of their neutrality in this conflict. They do not want to grant either side an advantage.
Yeah, basically the same thing we've been hearing so far. Let's ask him about Otto City.
A beautiful place, Otto City. A paradise on the water. But remember, within the city itself, the Selkath have absolute authority. They're a tough race, but fair. Obey the Selkath laws, keep the peace, and you should encounter no problems. I assume you received a visitor guide to the city when you docked your ship. I regret there is little I can tell you that's not in the visitor guide, my good Jedi. My duties rarely permit me to venture beyond the walls of the Republic Embassy.
Okay. Let's ask him about our mission to find the star maps. He's from the Republic, and he should be sympathetic to our cause, so I think we can trust him.
Oh, of course. Of course I'll do whatever I can. But I'm only a simple diplomatic representative of the Republic. I doubt I can be of any use to the Jedi Council.
That may be true, but you still might know something, though.
An ancient and forgotten race. And you think it may be here on Manon?
He does know something.
Well, perhaps. But if you want to get information about that, you'll have to do something for me first.
Aww. Come on, just tell us.
No. You do what I want and maybe I can help you out.
Aww.
Until then, nothing.
It doesn't really matter how high your persuade skill is there, you'll always get a failure at that. Alright, so what is it you want us to do?
We were using a submersible reconnaissance droid in the ocean surrounding Otto City, and it was damaged. It took a data recording of the outside of the city before being driven off by the Faraxan sharks. But while it was returning to the surface, it encountered difficulties and was disabled. Its automatic systems floated it to the surface, but we could not retrieve it in time. The Sith were applying subtle pressure to the Selkath authorities for some reason we've not determined, and were able to delay us long enough that they could retrieve the droid before we did. The droid's data centers are heavily encrypted, so it will take the Sith several days, we believe, to get to its data. It was captured 12 hours ago. It is imperative that we get it back.
Alright, I wonder what was on that droid.
It's intelligence information about Sith activities on Manon, as well as some oceanographic reports on the local marine life.
Okay. So what is it you want me to do?
It's heavily guarded, we're sure, in the Sith embassy here on Manon. Since we have no remaining soldiers to spare, and certainly not our elite ones, we have no one capable of entering the Sith base and retrieving it. That is what we would ask you to do.
That sounds like an awfully risky plan, especially considering that a confrontation with a Sith that escalates would not be taken very well by the Selkath. So how do we even get into the Sith base? I'm assuming if it's heavily guarded that this is not going to be any easy task.
There are several leads we've been working on to get into the Sith base. Any of them should work for you, although it might be wise to concentrate your efforts on just one. The first method that's possible is to help us interrogate a Sith prisoner we managed to catch after he tried to infiltrate our base. He's being held just inside our enclave. We think he may be able to give us the passcode that the Sith give their informers to enter the base. He has proved most resilient so far.
That sounds interesting. Are there any other options?
We managed to pick up a crate of blank Sith data cards, the type they use for pass cards. The encryption system to unlock them is very difficult, however. But if you are more skilled than our technicians, you may be able to gain access that way.
I may not be more skilled than the technicians, but Mission might be able to help with that. Is there another option, though?
The Sith have got the Selkath to give them exclusive use of one of the main hangar bays. Visiting Sith Masters use this bay to land, then take a speeder over the water to an external entrance to the Sith Enclave. The luckless spy we mentioned earlier had a pass card to that hangar on him. While it is surely well guarded, it may prove to be the most direct route. Here's the card. The Sith base itself is very heavily guarded. If they became aware of your presence, I fear you would be quickly outnumbered and killed. Here is a pass card to get you inside our facility. You should find all you need to get started in there. You can choose whichever of the methods you want, as long as you get in the base and get the data recording back. Which method do you think you would like to try first?
You can choose which of the three methods you'd like to do, and to be honest, I think raiding the landing bay, which is that far A dock that we saw last when we were exploring the docks, I think is the most fun one, just because you get to just totally go up against a bunch of Sith in that area where the Selkath cameras aren't watching you. But I'd rather do this one, because I don't see this one in a lot of Let's Plays of this game. And it'll give me a chance to do another puzzle, which I always like puzzles, so I will go with the pass card.
Good choice. We've been working at that for a while, but it's been too difficult so far. Maybe you'll have better luck. I wish you luck in your task. Should you retrieve the data recording from the droid, return it here to me, and we can see about getting you that information.
Alright. We've gotten a journal entry, and we've gotten our a quest here for Star Map Manon, which says that Roland 1 will give us the information we need once we do this task for him, and Mission for the Republic is all about that task, and it explains the 3 different ways that we can get into the Sith base. Alright, well, he gave us the pass card we needed to explore around, so let's go ahead and take a look. I'm actually going to switch out my party here, and thankfully we can do it here at this location. And I'm going to remove Karth, and I'm going to put Mission in, because we can use her computer use. And we can level her up, which is cool. Let's see, I will give her more of these. And more computer use and treat. Oh, I guess that's it. Alright. And we have been granted Sneak Attack 7 for this level. Let's see what we gain for that. From that. 7 to 42 points of extra damage versus 6 to 36. Not bad.
Sure.
Now, I don't know if you can still do the Sith prisoner option here. Let me see.
So, you're the one Roland has got to help us interrogate this prisoner. I hope your Jedi powers will come in useful. This one has been most resistant. He's a Sith spy we picked up a little while ago, snooping around outside trying to get in. We thought he was suspicious and brought him inside when the Selkath weren't looking. But it seems the Sith have done a pretty good job of conditioning this guy, and we haven't been able to break him yet.
Okay, so you can actually go for this. Okay, I did not know that. So I guess I can show all the different options that you can take to get inside the Sith base. And in that case, I'll go ahead and do this. I don't really remember how to do it, so bear with me. I didn't realize that this was possible. Let's talk to him about the prisoner.
The Sith protect their really important spies with some sort of mental force feedback system. They can turn their minds in on themselves, so force compulsions won't affect them. Combine this with conventional training to resist interrogation, and sometimes it takes months to get them to tell what they know. Do you want to interrogate him now?
Why don't we try it?
Well, the training the Sith gave him will protect him from most normal interrogation techniques, and also from force persuasion. We have found a few hooks you might find useful. He was with another man when he was first spotted. We think it was another spy, but we didn't manage to catch him. We also seized some personal documents he had on him when he was captured. It would seem that he's married to a woman named Tila. We checked this in our computers, and it seems to hold up. We've sent a couple of agents to investigate, but it may be a while.
Alright, is that all we have to work with?
What we have here is your standard issue truth serum. It should make him spill his guts in no time. But there is a catch.
A catch?
Because of his conditioning, he's able to resist it at small doses. But if you give him too much, his body realizes what you're trying to do and shuts his mind down completely. If you do that, you'll have to inject him with an antidote that neutralizes the truth serum. Unfortunately, that too has a drawback.
Oh boy.
It causes short-term memory loss. This may work to your advantage because you can try the same tactic over and over again. But if you use it too much, he may forget everything we want to know. Shall we get it started then?
Alright, let's give it a try. I don't know if I'll be able to really do this, because this is kind of a very fidgety puzzle, but we'll give it a shot.
Hey you, wake up. Someone wants to talk to you.
Let's try interrogating him.
What do you want? What companion?
Of course, they would never believe we let you go so easily, but they would all too happily believe you betrayed them.
You can't do this to me. They would kill me in ways too horrible for you to imagine.
I don't think he would really fall for this, because Sith wouldn't really care about the fate of another. And this one doesn't really threaten his life directly. So, let's try something else.
What do you want?
Let's go with Tila.
Tila? How did you find out about her?
Let's go for this one.
All right. I'll tell you what you want to know.
What's the passcode to the Sith base?
It's Zeta 245698 Alpha. Just no more.
Good. With this pass, you should be able to get into the Sith base without trouble. Just don't delay too long, or they might learn that he's been captured.
Wow, okay, so that wasn't too bad. I seem to recall that being a lot more difficult, and having to use the serum a little bit more. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and go into the computer
You're the
room.
one who's gonna try to get into the Sith base, eh? Huh, good luck, you're gonna need it. This is our main computer room here. We got the box of pass cards we got from the Sith, but we haven't been able to break their encryption yet. We have been able to decode the numeric system they use, but there are holes in our terminal sequence patterns.
Terminal sequences, huh?
The strings of numbers that end the code sequences. If we could complete those strings, we would have the key to their encryption system. The encryption system is composed of 6 matrices. Each is based on a mathematical method. The holes we're missing are the final number in each of the strings. Most are simple, but the final 2 matrices seem to be much more difficult. Well, the second last matrix has a pattern looping back on itself, or something. And the last is divided into smaller subparts. Maybe the pattern for that is within each part. But I have to admit, all this is a bit over my head. I haven't even been able to slice past the first matrix, and I've been at this for hours. I've ruined a dozen cards already. But the good thing is we have a whole box of them, so you don't have to worry about running out anytime soon. Since Roland said you were cleared, you can use the computer freely. I'll be here if you have any questions.
He makes it sound rather difficult, but actually this is a really simple mathematical sequence puzzle. Actually, let's get mission for this. System booting. Status pending. Loading rep-op layer. Success. Command query? Before we do the pass card, let's slice into the Republic system first. And you get a couple of options here that don't really do anything but would require a lot of spikes. Opening the submarine bay doors, which would be the consequence of doing the task for Roland. But I don't believe you can actually use this even if you had 100 spikes. And I don't really know what this would accomplish, but I believe it doesn't really accomplish anything either, even if you tried. But this is what we want. Access restricted data archives. Accessing data archive. Success. Downloading Sunry incident archive. Success. Uh-oh. The computer screen switches to a fisheye view from some sort of small surveillance device on a wall. A beautiful young woman enters the room, followed by a much older man. As she walks farther into the room, he softly closes the door, pulls a blaster, and shoots her in the back. This must be some sort of secret recording of Sunry murdering Oasa. Well, well, so he did do it after all, huh? that kind of puts this whole thing in a different light, and I'm going to explain what the repercussions of that are when we go over to confront Sunry about it. We got some experience for that, and a journal entry. As Arbiter, you must defend Sunry to the best of your ability. However, you have found a data recording that clearly shows Sunry killing the Sith woman Alasa. Can you continue your role of Arbiter impartially, knowing that your client has committed such a crime? That seems to be the dilemma here. But for the time being, let me go ahead and do this Sith pass card stuff. Loading decryption layer, success. Accessing additive matrix, terminal sequence 1, 2, 4, 7, 11, 16. Additive, of course, refers to addition, and as the numbers increase, you'll notice that the amount between each number also increases. The amount between 1 and 2 is 1, 2 and 4 is 2, 4 and 7 is 3, and so forth, and 11 and 16 is 5, which means that we need to add 6 to 16. That, of course, is 22. Terminating additive matrix. Accessing subtractive matrix. And in this one, we have numbers that are going down at first, but then they come right back up, which is kind of a little strange. But you'll notice here that the distance between each number is going down, and is basically the same pattern as the first one. Here we have 3, 2, 1, and then 15 and 15, the distance is 0. 15 and 16 is -1 for subtracting. So if we subtract -2 from 16, that would equal 18. Terminating subtractive matrix. Accessing multiplicative matrix. Terminal sequence 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. And this shouldn't be too hard to figure out. This is just multiplying by 2 over and over again. So the next number is 64. And divisive matrix. This is dividing by 2 every time. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now for the two harder ones that the technician was talking about. Exponential matrix. We've got 1, 32, 81, 64, and 25. And this may seem a little odd considering that 81, 64, and 25 are all squares, and 32 and 1 are not. But the key here is to see what patterns exist here within these numbers, and there are a couple. There are numbers that are going up, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and at the same time there are powers that are going down, which in this case are 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. So 1 is basically 1 to the 6th power, 32 is 2 to the 5th power, 81 is 3 to the 4th, 64 is 4 to the 3rd, and 25 is 5 to the 2nd. So the next number would just be 6 to the 1st, which would just be 6. Finally, we've got the logarithmic matrix, and in this case we're dealing with numbers here that are in pairs, and they're separated by these dashes. And the second number in each case appears to be a power. And you'll notice that the number that would be the base of that is 2. For instance, 2 to the 3rd power would be 8, 2 to the 5th power would be 32, and 2 to some power would be 128. And if we carry that out to its natural conclusion, we would discover that that would be 7. Excellent, we got the card reprogrammed. I'm glad we can actually do all 3 of these options. That's pretty good. I'll be sure to go back and check out the hangar here after we're done with the trial, but in the meantime, we need to go back to Sunry and confront him with this evidence that we've just found, proving that he was indeed the murderer. Let me go ahead and just activate our speed here. Whoops, sorry, Sith. Back to the West Central Courtyard we go. And let's see, I'm going to talk to Elora first. Wait, this is in the very westernmost courtyard. one more door to go through. There's Alora.
I hear you've been appointed as arbiter in Sunry's trial. My husband is innocent. Please don't let him go to jail for a crime he didn't commit.
I'm afraid he may not quite be so innocent, but let's not lay that on her quite yet. Let's talk to her about some other things here. First of all, we know what the answer to this is, but I wonder if she knows about it.
Of course not.
She knows.
Yes, he was having an affair. He was seeing that Sith woman. After all these years we've been together, he just struck me like that. Not publicly, oh no. But inside, that's what it feels like. He started seeing Alasa last year. I had my suspicions for a while, but he was careless. Pretty soon everyone knew. But even though I'm sure that harlot was only using him, I know he couldn't have killed her. He came and confessed to the affair to me. He said he was going there to break it off, to end it. Maybe the Sith woman attacked him, and he had to defend himself. But even though he cheated on me, inside he's still the man I loved. Love. He's too kind and gentle to have killed her in cold blood.
Well, he may not necessarily be so innocent after all.
This is all a plot to discredit the Republic. Sunry is a victim of a Sith frame-up.
It's possible. I haven't seen Sunry since I crashed on Kashyyyk. A man can change a lot in that time. The man I knew could never have done this crime, however.
Find the real evidence. That's all I ask. The real evidence will prove Sunry didn't do this.
Well, I think we did find the real evidence, and it does prove that he did it. But let's go ahead and visit Sunry and see what he has to say about it.
Jolie, coming to check in on an old man? I must confess, I would rather you were here to speak to the warden and begin my trial.
Soon, old friend. We don't want to go to trial until we've got the whole picture.
Oh, I grow weary of staring at these four bare walls. But I suppose you know what you're doing. You know, the role of arbiter cannot be taken lightly. Go ahead, ask. Ask what you need to. I've got nothing to hide.
Really?
A Rhodian? I didn't know there were any Rhodians on Manan. Oh, except for Tyvark and this one named Glupar who's hanging around the hotel all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe there are a whole bunch of Rhodians on Manan. But what does that matter? If he planted evidence at the scene, it's a clear sign of a frame-up. He probably took all the evidence of the real killer at the same time. The evidence of a Sith conspiracy keeps getting stronger, doesn't it? I suspect there's still stuff you want to clear up. Go ahead, ask.
There is stuff we need to clear up. This specifically.
So the truth is out. I never meant to kill her, you know. When I found out she was a Sith spy using me to gain information, that something inside me just snapped. She didn't know I had found out. So I waited until she fell asleep. And then I killed her. Simple, really. But once I realized what I'd done, I panicked. I contacted those spies from the Republic to help me. They found the illegal monitoring device that the Sith had planted in the room, altered its recording to hide my part in it, and cleared up the evidence. I figured that was the end of it.
But the Sith found out the truth, didn't they?
The Sith must have been spying on me and Alasa, trying to make sure she wasn't a double agent. They must have seen the Republic spies getting rid of all the evidence. So they planted their own evidence. Alasa must have stolen that hero's cross from me long ago and given it to her Sith masters like some kind of trophy. I just thought I'd misplaced it. But when the cross turned up on her body, I knew the Sith had put it there. So, now you know the whole story. What are you going to do?
Well, we've got a few options here. if you did not know about the video, and it is possible to go through this without knowing about the video, you can go through the trial and with the evidence that you've got and exonerate him. However, if you do know about the video, like we have, then going to the trial will actually get you dark side points in the end. And I must confess, I was very tempted to avoid seeing that video because I didn't want to get dark side points here, but I did want to show as much as I could of the game. And I wanted to show you the fact that he was guilty in the end, and I didn't want to just drop that on you after the trial was over. And I was tempted at this point, after deciding to show the video, to just drop the trial entirely, because you can actually just go ahead and turn him in without having to go through the trial. But I do want to show how to win at the trial, and to be honest, I don't really think of Cain as a pure good guy. I think of him as somebody who wants to protect the Republic, and there are ramifications, you know, in the real world if the Sith were to win and Sunry were to be found guilty. Of course, if this were me in real life, I would turn him in, but I think the character of Cain is ruthless enough to go for something like this, even if it were based on a lie. Protecting the Republic that he's serving, I think, is important to him. So from a role-playing standpoint, I think it can be justified. And like I said, from a personal standpoint, I do want to show as much of the game as possible. And that does include trying to win at the trial, so I'm going to go ahead and move on with the trial.
But Sunry is a murderer. I'm sorry, old friend, but you are. I can't approve of this. You go ahead, however, if that's what you think is best.
I'm glad you decided to see reason in this. If I'm convicted, it could cause trouble for the Republic Embassy here on Manan. And none of us want that, now do we?
Yes, we do get dark side points for that, but we will gain quite a bit of light side points in return as well. Let's go ahead and level up. We are at level 15 now, which is great, because at this point I can get Master Speed, or Force Wave, or Stasis Field, all of which are amazing, and I'm actually planning to get all three of them at some point. But I think I'm going to use Force Wave, because I happen to know that it's going to come in handy here pretty soon, and I don't know when my next level up is going to be, so I'm going to go ahead and just keep it at that. It's going to be, yeah, it's still a little ways off, but it'll come here soon enough, I'm sure. Force, the extra attack that you get for Master Speed is useful, it really is, but it's going to become especially critical when we go to the 4th planet. But we won't really need to worry about that for a little while. Well, we're ready to start the trial. We got all the evidence we need, we've talked to all the people we need to talk to, and I think we are ready, so let's go ahead and talk to the warden here. We can ask him about these things, but he won't really know anything about them. Let us go ahead and begin the trial. We can go and ask him these as well, but he's just going to tell us things that we already know. Yes, let's go ahead and begin. Alright. Presiding are Judges Shelkar, Josa, Naleshikon, Kota, and Dula. I don't think it really matters what you say here if you want to continue with the trial, unless you say this and turn him in, but we will just go ahead and say I will find him innocent.
It is an honor to see justice served. And I will see Sunry is executed for the crime he has committed.
Yeah, very impartial there. Now at this point, the witnesses are going to be called up to the stand, and the Sith is going to be just asking them a question or two, and then we'll get to question them, essentially.
The man I saw leaving, Sunry, probably left after I heard the blaster shot.
The guilt of the accused is apparent even this early in the trial.
Tell him, Judge. Feareth me.
You are Feareth me, the well-known Pazak player. I wonder if we can trust the word of a gambler as reliable testimony.
Oh, come on. Seriously? Objection! Of
course, Your Honor. Feareth me, what did you see the night of the murder?
Well, I came out into the hallway after hearing the blaster shot and saw Sunry over there limping down the hall out of the building.
A very obvious point, Your Honors. The accused was seen leaving the scene of the crime after the blaster that killed Elassa was fired.
Okay, so at this point we get to cross-examine each of the witnesses after the Sith is done with them. And basically the way this works is that you have to ask just the right questions and just the right amount of questions, or else you will not be able to convince the judges. Basically, you'd want to stay away from things that have to do with Sunry being a cripple, like this question right here, because that is not going to convince the judges at all. You do not want to mention this at any point in time. Let's go ahead and ask him about whether he actually saw the murder happen. This is something you want to ask everybody.
You mean actually see him kill her with my own eyes? Well, no, but I don't think there could have been anyone else there.
Let's see, Elassa is a dark Jedi, isn't she?
Yes, from what I could tell. She carried a lightsaber under that cloak of hers.
Objection! That doesn't prove she was a Jedi.
And let's ask about the medal, because that's another important piece of evidence that will help us establish our claim here.
I think it may have been. I mean, you'd have to be pretty stupid to leave something that important lying around, wouldn't you?
No additional questions. I'm not going to poll the judges, because if you do now, they're just going to all be undecided, and at various points along the other witnesses' testimonies, if you ask them, then usually 3 of them will be in favor of Sunry being not guilty, and 2 of them will be undecided. And as far as I know, that does not change throughout the course of the trial. Glupor.
Glupor the Rhodian, you were staying in the hotel the night of the murder and saw Sunry leaving Elassa's room, didn't you?
Glupor jiking mata Sunry mulira. King jupa shaklupor. No ba mulira set kilai kunka.
This is clear then, that Sunry left the room with the Sith Elassa already dead behind him.
Alright, so let's ask him this question here as well. Did you see Sunry kill Elassa?
Lupor no mulira chuni mulira tong Sunry. Kingba no konik dorcha. Chubaka chopak lupor. Chawa whiskey sit.
Let's ask him about the medal as well.
Lupor ka chopa chawa wisyun kun. Ogra shok chong kanti chakum hudro. Lupor kan king davik nibora tong chitsa.
And since he was the one who planted the medal on Elasa, as established by our conversation earlier, let's ask him about that.
Lupor, Lupor.
Don't do it, Lupor.
Yes, do it!
Lupor kan king davik nibora tong chitsa.
Lies! Slander! I object!
Lupor wonky.
Yes! We have no additional questions. Nope. Alright, Laura. I'm sorry this takes so long, everybody. This is a...
You, Elora, are Sunry's lawful wife. Your husband was a hero in the last war between the Sith Empire and the Republic. He was crippled in that war. Do you not believe he'd blame the Sith for his injury?
Yes. I guess he would.
And there you have motive. Sunry seeks revenge on the Sith for what they did to him and killed Elasa.
You don't want to ask him or her about the fact that he was a war hero, because that is definitely not going to help your case at all. You do want to ask about the affair, though.
Yes. Yes, it was true. He was having an affair with that Sith harlot.
It seems painfully obvious that he killed her to keep her quiet about the affair.
He'd been seeing her for some time, I think. But he said he was going to change. He'd gone there that night to end it. We talked the night before and he'd promised. But now things have become so very complicated.
No further questions. I'll go ahead and show you what this looks like, because I think this is going to be one of the... Well, there's going to be one more opportunity, but this is one of the last opportunities to pull the judges. Not guilty. Not guilty. Undecided. Not guilty. And undecided.
I wish to call forth Sunry himself, Your Honors.
Alright. The man himself.
Are you a war hero, Mr. Sunry? You fought in wars against the Sith Empire, correct?
Yes, that's right. And I don't regret it either. The Republic needs its heroes.
Indeed. Would you say that you dislike the Sith? Even hate them?
Of course I hate them. Trying to take over the galaxy every chance they get, killing millions of innocents?
Pure politics. Were you in Elasa's room on the night of the murder?
Well, yes, I was. I had been having an affair with Elasa, my wife, yes. But I realized how wrong I'd been, and I was going there to end it.
You were having an affair with a Sith, you wanted to end it quickly and quietly, so you killed her from behind and tried to flee.
No,
I think we can see the answer clear enough, Mr. Sunry.
This guy's not a very good prosecutor. Yes, tell him. Let's see here. Let's just ask him this. You were going there to end the affair. Would the Sith object?
Yes, I think they would. They wouldn't want to lose one of their sources, even though I didn't give them anything. They might have killed her for her failure. Or they might have thought she'd turn against them or something like that.
The Sith Empire is not the barbaric institution you portray it to be.
Except it is. I don't really know. I can't really remember if you have to ask him this or not, but I believe you do. You definitely don't want to ask him about this. This isn't going to help you at all. Yeah, let's go and ask him this.
I don't know. The medal had gone missing some time ago. I never found out what happened to it. It's possible the Sith had stolen it and had it planted on the body.
Supposition, Your Honors?
Good, okay. I was unsure about that one. No additional questions. If you poll the judges at this point, it'll be the exact same thing as last time.
I think the facts in this case are very straightforward. Sunry was having an affair with Elasa. He sought to end it, and the simplest, quickest method, given his hatred of the Sith, was to simply kill her. Witnesses saw Sunry fleeing the scene, and material evidence places him there at the time of the murder as well. I am confident that any informed observation of the facts will lead the judges, Your Honors, to this very conclusion.
You definitely don't want to say this or this. And number 5 may sound good, but it's definitely not going to help you. You want to just say no one actually witnessed the murder and Sunry was ending the affair, so the Sith killed her.
Well, that doesn't mean a thing. He was there, running from the room. The Sith would not leave the medal of her killer clutched in her hand.
And that's it. Alright, down with the Sith Empire.
Your Honors, no!
Silence! Alright.
Yes! Score 1 for the good guys.
Oh, Sunry, I'm so glad.
Elora, thank you for saving me. I don't know how I can repay you. Elora and I are going to leave here and get as far away from all this as soon as we can. I and the Republic will not forget what you've done for us. Thank you.
Like I said, I feel bad for going to trial knowing that he was the one who actually committed the murder, but I did want to show everything that was involved with this. A couple of things, consequences to keep in mind, although one of them is a little bit more consequential than the other. If you actually do get Ignis, the hotel clerk, to testify that Sunry left before the shots were fired and lie here in the court, then the Selkath judges will be a little bit more lenient toward you if you make a mistake or say something that's a little bit less convincing toward your argument later on in the trial. Additionally, if you do not confront Elora about the affair earlier, then the prosecutor will actually bring it up during the trial, which will make Sunry look pretty bad, and I don't actually know if that affects anything or not. I don't think it does, but at least from a real-life standpoint, it just doesn't look quite as good when the opposing side brings something out like that. Well, we are now finally done with that trial. I'm sorry that was kind of a little tedious. I know listening to all of that is kind of a little bit boring and monotonous, but thankfully it's not nearly as long as a real trial. Believe me, I've been to real trials working for attorneys and whatnot, so thankfully it's not near that length. But at any rate, we need to explore the very easternmost portion of Otto City, because we haven't even been there yet. But we'll do that in the next video.